A shocking medical error has led to the tragic death of a 70-year-old man in Florida. William Bryan died on the operating table just 2 days before his wedding anniversary. Bryan was supposed to get his spleen removed, but the surgeon somehow managed to take out his liver instead. Yeah, you read that right. The whole thing happened at Ascension Sacred Heart Emerald Coast Hospital. Bryan's family is understandably devastated and is now suing the hospital and the doctor involved. Who was William Bryan? William Bill Bryan, a 70-year-old husband from Muscle Shoals, Alabama, was living his best life. He had so much to look forward to, especially with a major milestone just around the corner. Bill and his wife Beverly were gearing up to celebrate 34 incredible years of marriage. Their relationship was built on love, laughter, and countless adventures together. To mark the occasion, they decided to get away to their favorite spot, a cozy condo in Destin, Florida. The plan was simple: relax, unwind, and enjoy each other's company. But life had other plans. Bill started feeling sharp pains, and their relaxing vacation quickly turned into a medical emergency. What happened next is every person's worst nightmare. The emergency visit. Bill and Beverly's trip took a sudden turn when Bill started feeling sharp pains in his lower left abdomen. You would think a vacation would be a time to enjoy, but for Bill and Beverly, it became a fight for life. The couple rushed to Ascension Sacred Heart Emerald Coast Hospital, nestled between Pensacola and Panama City. The doctors at Ascension were alarmed by an abnormality in Bill's spleen and admitted him for further testing. A spleen issue can be serious, and it's understandable that doctors wanted to take swift action. After running tests, doctors identified a ruptured cyst that had caused bleeding around Bill's spleen. At this point, Beverly's instincts kicked in. She wanted to bring Bill back to their trusted doctors in North Alabama for treatment. Beverly recalled, "I tried to convince Dr. Sheknovsky to let me take him home or arrange for transportation. However, Dr. Sheknovsky raised a dire warning. If Bill was moved, he would likely bleed to death." This alarming prediction sealed the Bryans' fate, and they reluctantly trusted the doctor's expertise. Initial diagnosis revealed a spleen issue, and doctors urged Bill to undergo surgery ASAP to avoid serious health complications. The family's attorney Joe Zarzor says hospital staff, including Dr. Sheknovsky and Chief Medical Officer Dr. Christopher Bacani, strongly advised surgery. Red flags should have been raised when Beverly expressed concerns about surgery in Florida. Why did hospital staff push so hard for immediate surgery? Beverly's hesitation was understandable, but hospital staff reassured her that they had everything under control. Little did they know, his decision would prove catastrophic. The fatal surgery. On August 21st, the 70-year-old underwent a laparoscopic splenectomy to remove his spleen. But in a horrifying mistake, Dr. Thomas Sheknovsky removed his liver instead. This grave error severed a major artery, causing massive blood loss and ultimately Bill's death. The surgical pathology report later confirmed that the removed organ was indeed the liver, not the spleen. In a crazy attempt to cover up the mistake, Dr. Sheknovsky labeled the removed liver as the spleen in his post-operative report. He even claimed that Bill's spleen was severely diseased and had migrated to the other side of his body. However, Dr. Robert Blanchard, the surgical pathologist, examined the removed organ and identified it as a grossly identifiable liver, partially torn. This contradicts Dr. Sheknovsky's claims. Basic anatomy clearly distinguishes the liver and spleen locations. The liver is on the upper right side of the abdomen, below the diaphragm, while the spleen is on the upper left side, next to the stomach. It's hard to understand how a seasoned surgeon with 14 years' experience could confuse these two organs. Beverly Bryan's words convey the shock and grief. "They took him from us while he was completely helpless on an operating room table. They removed his liver instead of his spleen, so of course he bled to death." The investigation. The widow of William Bryan, Beverly demanded immediate answers after her husband's unnecessary and brutal death. "I'm not the only wife who's lost her husband suddenly, but Bill's death was especially heartbreaking," she said. "It was indeed sudden and unexpected. It is true that splenectomy carries risks, but death is not typically a common outcome. But what makes William's case even more alarming is the question of whether his death was preventable. Was the surgical error that claimed William Bryan's life an isolated incident, or did Dr. Thomas Sheknovsky have a history of similar mistakes? Investigations would soon reveal a disturbing pattern. Dr. Thomas Sheknovsky, the surgeon responsible, had made a similar mistake before. In 2023, he removed part of a patient's pancreas instead of the adrenal gland. How could a surgeon with a history of such egregious errors continue to practice, putting patients' lives at risk? The 2023 incident was swept under the rug with little fanfare or consequence. However, Beverly Bryan refused to let her husband's tragic fate meet the same fate. She was determined to uncover the truth and ensure accountability for Bill's unnecessary death. She hired Zarzor Law to hold Dr. Sheknovsky accountable and ensure he can't harm anyone else. My husband died on the operating table because of Dr. Sheknovsky's incompetence. I don't want anyone else to suffer the same fate, she said. Beverly's pushing for a lawsuit and criminal investigation. The Walton County Sheriff's Office is now investigating. As Joe Zarzar, the Bryan family's attorney, aptly put it, while most doctors are doing excellent work to keep us healthy, there is a small percentage that should not be practicing medicine. Dr. Sheknovsky's actions seem to fit squarely into that category. Ascension Sacred Heart Emerald Coast Hospital has cut ties with Dr. Sheknovsky, but their statement raises questions about transparency. The hospital says patient safety is their top priority, but they're not commenting on the specifics. That's not good enough. They need to account for their mistakes. Dr. Sheknovsky's medical license is still active, which raises concerns about oversight. Beverly's lawyer, Joe Zarzauer, plans to file a civil lawsuit. We want to make our community safer, he claims. Beverly remembers Bill as honest, kind, and dependable. He deserves justice. The family, including 3 kids and 8 grandkids, is devastated. Beverly's speaking out to warn others. Spread awareness and warn others, that's her message. The hospital's response. The hospital's response has been underwhelming. After dissociating itself from Dr. After removing his photos and references from their website, they released a statement citing confidentiality laws and offering no further details. Critics are right to question how such a catastrophic mistake could occur. As one commenter noted, the liver is the largest internal organ in the human body. There's no way to mistake it for a spleen unless you have no clue about human anatomy. She seeks both criminal and civil penalties, ensuring that Dr. Sheknovsky and the hospital face consequences for their actions. The Walton County Sheriff's Office has launched an investigation into William Bryan's death, reviewing the facts to determine if any criminal activity occurred. Response of the Florida Department of Health. The Florida Department of Health, FDOH, has declined to confirm or deny an investigation into Dr. Thomas Sheknovsky following William Bryan's case. The Walton County Sheriff's Office is conducting an active and open investigation into Bryan's death, but no timeline has been provided for its completion. Attorney Joe Zarzar is navigating the pre-suit period required by Florida law before filing a medical malpractice lawsuit. This process is expected to take 6 to 9 months. The FDOH expects to release some public records on file for Sheknovsky soon, including his medical license applications. The community still awaits answers and accountability in this tragic case. Thank you for reading. Like, comment, and subscribe for more thought-provoking content. Join the conversation in the comments below. What changes do you think are needed to ensure transparency and accountability in healthcare?